and welcome to Step Into the Light with Queen of Light 1111 and Sue Nana. This is episode 16.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
16 already? It's like our sweet 16.
I know, that's right. Sweet 16. So do we have a topic for all of you today? So what we wanted to discuss with all of you is about closure. The topic of closure comes up a lot, not only in my practice, but just, in conversations with a lot of friends or people that I talk to that struggle with closure. And closure is when you don't have access, or maybe you do have access to the person or to the situation in which to come to a compromise or to a conclusion for movement forward.
Right.
Okay? So what we want to talk about today is how to get closure from a situation or with a person. And so what I want to make sure that I'm clear about is if you are still talking to the person, right? For example, if there's a person that's still in your life and you don't have closure on something, that's still an energy that is stuck. That is still an energy where even though you have access, maybe that person doesn't want to go back to down memory lane. Maybe that person doesn't want to, reignite the situation. And so you're feeling like, I still don't have closure on this yet. Or it could be a situation where maybe you've broken up with someone or have stopped talking with someone and maybe you still don't understand why that happened. So we're going to talk about these instances and these situations in this podcast today. So what I first want to start with is for those of you who follow me and who understand this podcast, this is on spirituality. I talk about the spiritual journey. So the thing that everyone must understand is that energy is everything. Everything is energy, right?
Right.
So when you are dealing with someone, you're dealing with their energy. Now, when you understand that energy is everything, you understand that if you are looking at things, people, or situations from a higher state of mind, that you can achieve closure energetically. Okay? So the way that I want to parallel explain this to you is the twin flame journey. You are always in union with your twin flame. If you think about it, separation is a 3D concept. So people, just because they're not in a 3D connection with their twin, experience separation. But if you understand it from the higher consciousness, which is you are never in separation from your twin flame. See, that's an energetic connection. And we have energetic connections with whether people are your twin, your soulmate, your karmic, a friend, whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Right.
Did I explain that well enough, do you think, for people to understand?
I think so. And if you have energetic connections with so many people in your life.
Your dog.
With your dog, even.
Right.
And when you do have an energetic connection with someone, you don't have to be with that person to really get closure with them.
Exactly. Or even, express something that may be difficult, right? I mean, you can honestly do this through meditation. Mm-hmm. You could do it with just a conversation with yourself. Totally. You can journal. But it is really about looking at it from a higher state of mind.
Definitely.
In order to gain the closure.
Because you might be in the mindset where you think that you can't get closure with someone because you can't tell them how you feel about the situation, and you may feel like they're never gonna apologize to you for what they did to you, for example.
Exactly.
But in reality, you don't need those things to get closure, and you don't need an apology to forgive someone.
Right. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because even if you're talking to them and you want to have the conversation with them, here's the thing. People only understand from their own level of understanding, right?
Yes.
So if you talk to someone and you're in communication with them and you're trying to explain why you're upset or why you're feeling some certain type of way, and they're not at the same level of understanding, it doesn't matter that you're talking to them. You're not meeting in that place of energy to give you the closure. Right? So when you use your higher consciousness and your state of mind, the only person that really needs to truly understand this is you.
Definitely.
Right? So So this is where your power comes from. This is where understanding comes from. This is where intuition comes from. And this is where healing takes place.
Yes.
Okay? So energetically speaking, you can get closure on your own. And so at the end of this podcast, Sunaina has again channeled and written a meditation that will take you through a process, okay? Which is, now when you think about what's happening with your life, and we are catering to the masses here, so we can't cater to every single instance, but think about the situation or think about a person with whom you want to get closure with. And so when you are starting this meditation that Sunaina is going to take you through, think about this thing. Be prepared when we get to the end of this podcast with that situation or person you want to obtain closure with. Get grounded, get into your higher self, connect with your inner self, and make sure that you are in the place of energy and grounding to give yourself that healing, okay? So what I want to do before we get into this guided meditation is I want to just give you some tools, some advice on how to get closure after, whether it's a breakup or if there is a situation that is painful or keeping you stuck, okay? And so in the order that I'm going to say these things is just kind of off of insight and memory, not necessarily order of importance, okay? Right. So the first thing, and I think a lot of people get caught up on this, it's like whether it's been a week or 3 months or 9 months or 10 years, there is no timetable for moving on. There isn't. There really isn't. I think that, when you start talking to people and talk to your friends and they're like, oh my God, you're still pining over that guy, or like you're still crying over that situation. I think that people, one, need to be more sympathetic and understanding. And I do understand like tough love too, because I'm a big giver of that as well, right? To myself, right? Because I feel like we're our own worst critics too. For sure. But I think that people need to really get into the energy of, it's not one size fits all. Healing is not one size fits all. It's messy, right?
It really is.
Some days you're going to be like, I'm okay. Today I feel great. I didn't even think about that dude today. And then some days you're just really forcing yourself to get out of bed and just do the things that you need to do. So there's no timetable. So the first thing to do is know that and be gentle and don't feel guilty or weak or any type of way, right? Your healing is your healing, and only you are responsible for your own healing. And so every day that you get up, you're moving forward. Every day that you're moving past the situation, you're moving past it, right? So just be gentle with yourself, right?
Yes.
So the second thing I want to talk about is feeling emotion, right? It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sad. I think people get caught up with like, oh, I don't want to cry about this anymore. I can't believe I'm crying about this.
But
still.
like you said, it's hard. Some days you have bad days, and you just have to be gentle with yourself.
Right. I mean, you've seen me, right? I mean, I think you see me and you think, Queen of Light's strong, right? But Queen of Light's still a human being, right? Yeah. So when and you've seen this, like, and I see your face when you look at me when I'm having a tough day like that. You're kind of like, oh my God.
We all have bad days, though.
Yeah, I know.
You can't beat yourself up over it.
No, you can't.
You really can't.
I'm telling you, you have to honor it. You've got to honor, because then when you're sad or whatever, you have a heart. And emotions. And it just shows the depth of you.
Exactly, and you can't suppress those things either.
You can't.
If you feel like crying, then cry. Let it out. You have to let yourself feel these things in order to process your own emotions. Right.
Be present in your pain.
Right.
Here's what I always say, though. Don't get stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get stuck there. Yeah. This is why we have this meditation for you all at the end. Yeah. Don't get stuck in the sadness. Don't get stuck in the fairy tale. Don't get stuck in these places where you have to move through it. But again, remember, you're on your own timetable of healing, but you've got to keep even if it's like a half a step, keep taking your steps forward.
Yes.
Okay, the third thing, and I know people will roll their eyes when they hear this because they do it all the time. You have to forgive that person.
Oh.
Have to. Must. Remember, we did an episode on this on Step Into the Light podcast.
Was episode 10, How to Forgive.
Yes, go back and listen to episode 10. These podcasts are not only available on all the major platforms for Buzzsprout and iHeartRadio and iTunes
And Spotify,
but it's also on my YouTube. And so remember, if you guys want to book a reading, coaching session, or a healing session, go to queenoflight1111.com, and my YouTube channel is Queen of Light 1111. But forgiveness, critical. You don't forgive for the other person. You forgive for you. Right? So I don't want to go into all the details because we did a whole episode on this. So I'm going to refer you guys to episode 10.
Episode 10.
Thank you. 10. 10 is a significant number. 10 is a number of closing cycles. And we're doing a podcast on closure right now. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
Yes. So, okay, this is meant. So, I'm all about these synchronicities.
Yeah.
So forgiveness, that's very important. The next thing, acceptance. Accept that you may never get the apology. Accept that you may not ever be able to talk to the person again because you're blocked or because the person's not in this world anymore. So say you've had a bad relationship with a spouse or a parent or grandparent, whatever, and they're no longer on this earth. Accept that you may never get that closure in the 3D.
And you don't need it in the 3D.
You don't need it.
It's an energetic thing, like you said.
Exactly. So the minute you accept that this closure and apology or conversation may not happen in the way your 3D mind perceives it to happen, then you will be able to engage in the energy of closure. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the next tool or piece of advice is for those who are, dealing with a breakup specifically to a partner that they may have been married to or they have children with. That's a very difficult, situation, right? Because you're forever, right? You think you are forever attached to this person because you have children with them. And I get that. The 3D mind would have you believe that, right? But this is a journey of learning and unlearning, of programming and reprogramming. The programming society gives is, once you have kids with that person, you're tied with them for the rest of your life because you have kids and blah, blah, blah. Well, the way to unlearn that and reprogram that mindset is, yes, I have children with you, but my relationship with my children, our children, is now my relationship and my relationship alone to move forward, right? And that spouse needs to bring in his or her own relationship with the kids. And it is the responsibility to co-parent together, but if there isn't that energetic match that we're going to be on the same page, you cannot compromise yourself or compromise your children. So start to look at the future of this connection, child-based, kid-based. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you envision your future with your children and your spouse has left the marriage or the relationship, instead of focusing on, now he or she's going to go get another person and how's that person going to fit in, all real thoughts, all things that are going to happen, but you got to reel it back in, get back to basics and say, what does my future look like with my children in this situation now? Instead of I have kids with this person, he's making our lives difficult. Well, you're giving the power away, right? We should actually do another episode on how to take your power back.
Oh.
But I do readings about these things all the time about how to take your power back. So, so this is really about don't be a victim to the circumstance, Okay, so create your future with your children on how to move forward. Does that make sense? You're looking at me
I think that has a lot to do with detachment.
Yes.
From the
yes.
person.
You're right.
Think about a future without them. Think about your life.
Your own personal life without them. Right.
Life
because the kids will still have a relationship with them.
Right.
But it is your responsibility as the parent, as the person that's listening, to create your future with your children.
Right, and that should be your focus.
Exactly, and detach from all the things that are going to come with the ex, because the minute you focus more on your livelihood, your children's, your future, your steps forward, the less you're going to engage in the lower vibrational energies.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yes, detachment. Didn't we do a episode on that?
That was episode 3.
Okay, episode 3. See, 3 is that Trinity energy, right? That co-creation. This is that power. This is how you create and move forward in higher consciousness, right? A lot of people say 3 is Christ consciousness. What?
Wow, we didn't even do that on purpose.
We didn't do that on purpose. I know, because I'm totally going random here. Okay, and the next thing I want to talk about is highlight reels. Highlight reels.
Oh.
What do I mean with the highlight reel? Oh my God, like Up. Think about the movie Up.
Another Pixar movie.
That's right. I love Pixar and Disney. So anyway, oh my God, there's that beautiful highlight reel of Ellie and her husband. And in the movie Up, there's this beautiful highlight reel of their memories when they were kids. What's his name?
Carl
and Ellie. Yep. So, they were children and they met, and then they grew up and they got married. They had all these dreams. And then they try to have a family, and then she can't have a family, and then she gets sick, and then she passes away. And it was and there's no dialogue in that whole part, right? But that 5 minutes of that movie, of their story, is probably the best story I've seen in my whole life. Yeah. Because it talks about the beauty of the connection. And then it talks about the shadow of which happened.
It does.
Which is loss and death and transition. And so the highlight reel. Enter the highlight reel. I get this a lot in coaching sessions. Okay. Oh, but he was so amazing, and he did all these things for the 2 months we were together, or whatever, and then yes, the last 3 years have been difficult. The only thing they're holding on to is the 2 months of good behavior.
Yes.
And then they don't even process the shadow of the connection. Or, flip side, they only process the shadow, and they don't process the light in the connection. So this is the problem with the highlight reel. The highlight reel is when you don't have balance in the highlight. When you focus too much on the shadow, or you focus too much on the light. Either one's going to get you stuck. Oh my God, he was so amazing. Or, oh my God, he's such a piece of crap. Okay, right?
Yeah.
So that's not good.
The
way to embrace the highlight reel is understand it was a full experience.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
There was some good, there was some bad, accept what happened. It didn't work out. How do I process this now? Mm-hmm. The highlight reel in compartments keeps you stuck. Like, if you're too focused on the bad or too focused on the good.
In reality, it's not just black and white.
It's like not. That. It's not. But when you get to a place where you're, fight or flight, like survival mode, like all you want to do is, okay, the pain is going to make me get over it. Yeah. Or the sadness is going to make him come back, right? Like, it just depends how people process. So be careful of the highlight reel.
Yes. And
obsessing about the highlight reel. Okay, so remember, detachment is very key.
Yes.
So I want to leave you with this final piece of advice. Write your own happy ending. Write your own happy ending to the situation and to the closure. Now, don't be in the clouds and a fairy tale about it, right? What is the realistic, higher consciousness, elevated mind without the ego, okay? Your intuition. Use that. Use your higher self to say, here is my happy ending, right?
Right.
So what's an example of how to rewrite a happy ending? So for example, if you have a long-term connection with the friend and you're just at a place where you've grown apart, right? You don't quite have the closure. Like nobody really understands why it went sideways.
I can really relate to that right now.
Right? Okay, so nobody really knows why it went sideways.
Yeah.
It just did, right? And so now we've like grown apart. There's no real closure. We're not really talking.
Yeah.
You know, things don't feel just right. What's the happy ending that you're going to write? The happy ending that you're going to write, and this is just me talking, you're going to write your own way, but I'm just trying to get you to think from a higher perspective, is that, you know what? They served a wonderful purpose in my life for the times that I spent with them. I am grateful for the experience, but I wish them well, but they are no longer part of my story. That's it, right? And I'm not saying as if I don't have any emotion. I've been through this too. Like I've had, friendships and relationships that have lasted decades or years, but some even months that were even more deeper than the ones that lasted a long time.
Wow.
But that you had to part ways. But this is what this journey is about. Some people join you for a short time as a lesson, as an experience. Some people stay with you for a long time through a certain cycle in your life. And some people stay with you for the rest of your life. Every single person, situation, it's a blessing. And so when you see the experience as a blessing, you can let it go with love. Because at the end of the day, that is the energy that you want to operate in when you get your closure.
Let it go with love.
Love. Exactly.
That sums it up perfectly.
Exactly. So we hope you enjoyed this podcast on how to get closure. And we will start now with Sunaina's meditation. We hope you enjoyed, everybody. Have a great day.
Now, I want you to close your eyes, getting into a comfortable position, feeling the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. Take a deep breath, feeling your belly rise and fall with each and every breath. I want you to think of a situation or a person with whom you seek closure. As you think about this person or situation, you may experience some discomfort or uneasiness. Be gentle with yourself and know that these feelings are completely valid. Now, visualize yourself in that situation or in front of whoever you seek closure with. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and express your thoughts and feelings to this person, holding nothing back. Because you will not be judged for what you are expressing. Know that you are being heard. Being vulnerable takes courage. And being honest with yourself about how you feel allows you to process your emotions and let go of what you need to let go of. Acknowledging anything that is causing you distress, you realize what or who no longer aligns with the person that you have become. You deserve to be happy and free of relationships that you no longer feel aligned with. Know what is in your best interest and think about how you have grown because of this situation. You are stronger now than you were before. Take these next few moments to express any last words that you may have. And now, allow them to communicate to you their side of the story, what they might be feeling about the situation. You have already expressed your side to them. As you listen to them, check in with yourself and become aware of how you feel, listening to their response. If their words are bringing you discomfort, visualize a glass screen in front of you. You can see them, hear them, and yet their words can no longer affect you. You have set a healthy boundary from the person or people that you no longer align with. You are still able to communicate without feeling hurt. You have processed your emotions surrounding this situation, and you are ready to release yourself from attachment. Feeling grateful for the lessons, you can now let go with love. And now, call in the Divine's liquid gold light to purify and cleanse you of this experience. Envision this liquid gold light coming from the sky, touching the top of your head and gently moving through your body from crown to foot. Bask in this light of healing and purity. And when you are ready, thank the universe for this opportunity for closure. You can now begin wiggling your fingers and toes, bringing movement back into your body, maybe stretching out your limbs. and open your eyes. Thank you for listening to this guided meditation.